so let's go ahead and get started with the episode now. This is a story. The first one is a story that popped up in the news just the other day, and I was like, it was one of those stories that simply kept getting more and more ridiculous and frightening at the same time. So, in Florida right now, they're having an issue with these little monkey guys. They're called rhesus monkeys. They're like the little tiny monkey people. So, you're thinking, how did a bunch of monkeys show up in Florida? And there are a bunch. Right now, there's about 300 of them, and that's fairly low. In 1938, there was a tour boat operator by the name of Colonel Toohey. Not his real name. He wasn't really a colonel, but that was his nickname. And there's an area in Florida called Silver State Park, and it's a really big park, like a national park. It's like 5,000 acres, so it's fairly large. And in the middle of it was an island. There's like a lake. I guess, yeah. Well, obviously, there's like a lake in the middle of the park, and in the middle of the lake, there's an island. And Colonel Toohey thought, you know what? I'm going to have like this Tarzan-themed adventure park on this island. And you can't have Tarzan without monkeys, right? So he imports these 6 little rhesus monkeys. He drops them off on the island, and within hours, they swam off the island. He didn't know they were really good swimmers, so now you had 6 monkeys on the mainland of Florida. Colonel Toohey, not to be deterred by defeat, gets another batch of monkeys, 6 more of them. They also immediately swim off the island into the wilderness of Florida. By the 1980s, there were hundreds of monkeys in the area. And, you know, they're cute. They're little guys hanging out from trees. They're omnivores, so they have a very varied diet, and that makes them more prone to explode in areas that they shouldn't be, because they can kind of eat whatever. Bugs, fruits, berries, whatever. It's stuff. It's stuff that monkeys can eat. So they're eating all this stuff. They're hanging out. Eventually, the government of Florida was like, okay, we need to get rid of these monkeys. So they began culling them, and people could come in and capture them. They weren't really necessarily letting them like shoot them out of trees, but you could come in and capture the monkeys, and the monkey population dropped. Between 1984 and 2012, 1,000 monkeys were removed from the park. So again, it was a sizable amount. But what happened was in 2012, it got out that the people who were taking the monkeys were selling them to biomedical labs for experimentation. So the public was like, no, like, yeah, we have these monkeys in the middle of this national park. They're not hurting anybody. Leave them be, because the alternative is them being tested in laboratories. So the government's like, fine, like, whatever. So right now they assume there's around 300 of these monkeys running around Florida. And you think, okay, big deal. A bunch of little monkeys running around, throwing poop at people. Well, 2 things. These monkeys aren't afraid of humans. And they look cute, but they can attack you very quickly. They'll rush you very quickly. And a lot of times people will hold out food for them because they look cute, and the monkey will kind of do that little funny monkey walk over and then get aggressive right when it's about to get the food. They're fairly aggressive creatures around humans. They will chase you off. They've had to close the state park twice because people have been chased off by the monkeys. Because the danger of these guys isn't that they're just going to scratch you or throw poop at you or, wah, 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 make monkey noises at you, is 30% of them are infected with herpes B. Herpes B in a monkey, it's related to the normal herpes virus in humans. The herpes B in a monkey is, it's going to have a hard time getting a date on a Saturday night. But when the humans get herpes, it causes your spinal cord and your brain to swell up. It kills you, for the most part, or causes brain damage. They said there was a quote saying, the chances of contracting it is very, very low, but the consequences of it is very, very high. They compared it to winning the lottery in reverse type of thing. So it's not something that you'll necessarily get every time a monkey touches you, but if you do get it, you're going to have some serious problems. And herpes B is in fluid. So spit, it's in urine, it's in feces, which they like to throw at you, and even a good scratch from one of them could give you this disease. So it's very, very, has a lot of transmission factors to it. The monkeys have started to leave the national park. The monkeys have begun showing up in houses that are outside the national park, rooting through their garbage, looking for something to eat. The monkeys have actually started migrating to other parts of the state. They've been sighted down to the Florida Keys. They've even been sighted in Puerto Rico. That's a really good swimmer if you can swim from Florida to Puerto Rico. In 1997, a woman was working on a monkey in a lab, and she got some monkey juice. It doesn't really say what it was. She got some monkey, it says bodily fluids in her eye, and she got herpes B and it killed her. And that's an interesting thing, too. You can catch AIDS through your eyeball. It's permeable enough that AIDS-infected fluid in your eye will get you. It doesn't necessarily have to be through sex if you get it on your face, and I think you know what I'm talking about, but you can actually penetrate your eyeball and give you AIDS that way, or in this case, herpes B, because it's just a very, very thin barrier. It goes right into the bloodstream and all that. So, with this news getting out, like I said, this article just came out a couple days ago. Will there be renewed efforts to fight the herpes monkeys of Florida? I don't think so. I think even though 30% of these guys have herpes, and they're spreading out into the state, they're being seen in areas where they weren't seen before, they're aggressive, and they're not afraid of humans, I think it'll take a more recent couple of deaths before the public gets behind taking these guys out again. Because you could say, well, this woman died in 1997 of this, and then the people who want to save the monkeys just has to show a picture of an adorable monkey and go, aww. So we'll see. Hopefully this doesn't spread. Hopefully this is super rare and nobody else dies of it. But the bigger the population gets, and the more they spread out, the higher the chances that somebody in Florida or anywhere else in the South could get herpes from a monkey. How would you explain that on a date? Be like, I really love you, honey. I really want to be with you. I got herpes from a monkey. Now, of course, she probably would know you got herpes from a monkey because your brain would be swelled up outside of your head and you would have a massive spinal column. But let's assume you didn't get that. Let's assume you got herpes B and it didn't kill you, but you had a lifelong herpes. How would you explain that on your Tinder profile? That was a clip from our daily podcast, Dead Rabbit Radio. Dead Rabbit Radio is available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime news. If you want to hear the full episode that this clip came from, check the link below. Please like and subscribe. And hit that little bell, too. That does some magical stuff. Thanks, guys.